And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with the nerd is the word. I know we had a couple week little break, but we're back. This is nerd is the word. I am Josh,
I'm Jeff.
and we have a awesome episode for you. We both saw a movie
hmm
that I know I said in the last episode, yeah, I don't really feel like going to theaters. I told Sereno we have to go to theaters for this because I do not feel like having spoilers. We watched Spider-Man No Way Home. Blah,
Yeah.
and everything this movie was, which I laughed, I cried, and it was so great. Spoiler warning.
Oh yeah,
If you
big
have
spoiler
not
warning.
seen it yet, if you haven't seen it yet, turn this off. Just pretend like we're not here. Who is this? Go watch.
Go see the movie, then come back and see us.
Yes, we put out a spoiler warning in the beginning because it was a movie.
Yeah, and we
So,
will be touching on specifics.
mhm.
So big old fat spoiler warning. We're saying it multiple times, so you cannot blame us if you hear something you weren't supposed to and you get
Exactly.
spoiled. We said don't watch it because spoilers. Just
Yep.
like the
So
things on the back of all the cars in Fast and Furious, spoiler warning ahead.
see, here's the thing. I've seen two of those movies, and that joke is still funny.
Because it's true.
Yes, but no, yeah. We have a guest today.
We do have a guest. I so I couldn't do a Spider-Man episode without this man. Uh he he's like one of the, I think, the biggest supporters of the channel. Like I know he's definitely the person with the most comments. Like I know he watches every week. Uh he has his own YouTube channel, which the channel name is Black Spider-Man. So like obviously, and
Obviously, obviously he
when
liked the character.
yeah, and when we were starting to talk about the it wasn't the first trailer. I think maybe it was sometime we did an episode and we talked about Spider-Man, and he messaged me and he's like, hey, like when we do the movie, like he's like, when you do the movie, like I'm gonna be on, right? I was like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want any other guest to talk about Spider-Man with. This dude knows more about Spider-Man than I'll forget.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so
And yeah, we were talking about doing the episode, and I told him I was going to go see it today, and with everything going on for me personally, this we had to do it today. But he was like, look, even Jeff was like, this dude is a huge Spider-Man fan. And I was like, I need to hear everything he has to say. Because as I've stated in the past with our guests, I like having conversations and I like being able to learn new things. And I love hearing other people's input. So yeah.
I guess without further ado, is my good friend Devonte Lewis. He went to Georgia Southern with me. I've known him a long time. So let's meet Devonte, aka the Black Spider-Man.
Hey, how you guys doing? Or as YouTube intro, yo, 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 what's going on? It's your friendly neighborhood content creator, Black Spider-Man. I will not do the whole show this way, but I felt like it would, considering what we're talking about, I had to start it like this, right?
Show off the Spider-Man if you got it. Like I get it.
Make it
There he is.
It works.
I feel like in some universe, let's just say Jamie Foxx was watching that, he would have been happy, right?
that was so different. Oh my god, I thought you'd be black. I thought I was gonna.
I was like, oh, there's Miles reference number 2 in the MCU.
Exactly.
So do we, first off, like, do we think we're gonna get like a Miles like reveal? Because they've announced Tom Holland with what, 3 more? Yeah. 3 more Spider-Man movies, and they're basically setting up the college years. Do you think we get like a Miles Morales reveal sometime in the future?
Maybe not.
I think we do. So from what I've been reading, they have almost but confirmed Tom Holland's gonna make his appearance in actually the animated version of the Into the Spider-Verse, or in another Spider-Verse or whatever the second movie is going
Across
to be
the
called.
Spider-Verse.
There you go, Across
Yeah.
the Spider-Verse. So I don't know if he's going to be in part 1 because I think they're doing a weird part 1, part 2 type thing with it, but he's supposed to make an appearance animated in that universe. So I feel like that's them bridging it. And I don't know if they will take the actor that plays Miles Morales in that series and then bring him over into the Marvelverse. I don't know, but that's what it's rumored, that he's supposed to make his little appearance in there and then come over. And I'd be so excited, so freaking excited.
Because we already got in Homecoming, they had we got it wasn't necessarily the Prowler, but it was Aaron Davis from Donald Glover. And he made reference to having a nephew, and then I think it was like a deleted scene, like when he was still there, like stuck to the trunk of the car with his hand in the web, like he actually called and like mentioned Miles by name, and he was like, "Sorry, Miles, I'm not gonna make it." So it's like they've said specifically that he exists in this universe.
Yeah, he does,
but they haven't shown him. But I think it would be, I think it would be great, like just because if they could, like, even if it's just like a passing the torch, like that would also be legit. So that way you could still have more Spider-Man going forward, even if Tom Holland wants to call it quits.
That would be cool. And honestly, it's like I said, they honestly would be dumb not to. They understand the love for that character. It's like you're going to do that. You're going to bring in the Prowler. You're going to mention Miles, and you're going to be like, "Hey, guess what? We're not doing." No, they're not that dumb. they're going to do it. It's just a matter of, and just personal opinion. It's a matter of, I think, how much they can use Holland until people kind of think he goes stale. And the second he does, they're going to pass that torch over. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to use Tom Holland for whatever they can until he's like, "Look, I will jump off a building before I do another Spider-Man movie." And they're like, "Okay, bring in Miles. Yep, come on, let's go. Come on." And I will have my butt in a seat for the second they announce Miles Morales and the second they put him in, because I fucking love that character.
I'm actually interested to see what. So they could do it, right? So in the 2016 Miles Morales comic, or maybe it's 2017. No, it's 2016 Miles Morales comic. He actually, because remember, Peter is dead in his world, and so in the 2016 comic, he actually leaves his world and goes to the 616. So there's the potential, not that they would ever stop with the animated version of it, since it did so well, but there's a potential that he could leave that universe and end up in the 616. And you can do, like, even in the Miles Morales video game, you had Peter right there, and then you have Miles right there.
And I will say, sorry, go ahead.
And then even in the new one that's getting ready to come out, there's Miles right there, and there's Peter right there. So I would be a big fan of that. Just saying, I'd be a huge fan of that.
It would be nice to see how those two can bounce off of each other. Yes, we've seen them in the games, and we saw it in Into the Spider-Verse. Who voiced Jake Johnson did awesome as Peter B. Parker, one of my favorite Spider-Man ever. I would love to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man bounce off of Miles the same way he did with Toby and Andrew, to watch the whole just, it would be so beautiful. And I think if it's written well, it would be one of the biggest things ever. I think that's just my opinion.
It would be good. I would honestly be looking forward to the if Jordan Brand makes if they ever do a live action, like it, Jordan, they're gonna ask Jordan for like some custom, some custom ones, like the red and black. They just put like the little Spider-Man logo on there. Broke it. Oh my God! Could you imagine where you have the swoosh on the side and there's just like a little Spider-Man hanging off the end?
That would be cool.
I don't buy shoes. I buy Vans. I would buy every fucking pair.
Like those would be absolutely dope. Just to get the Miles Morales one. Oh my God, those would be so cool.
That'd be awesome. I've only ever in my life bought a single pair of Jordans, and that would have to be my second pair. And I probably have to buy one to wear and then one to just sit in the box, right? Just so I could stare at it, because I'm gonna wear them and they're just bad things are gonna happen to them, like every shoe. But then I'd have a second spare pair, maybe, I don't know, in its own glass case, just looking at
put it in a frame.
Just like, man, those things are.
But what are those? Those are the shoes that we never touch. We look, we gawk, we don't touch.
Matter of fact, you're looking at them too long. Look away. Look at anything else. Don't look at those shoes. They're worth more than your life. That's your college fund right there.
Why are you looking back at the shoes? What did I just say? Okay, get out of the room. Get out of the room. You don't even say the word shoes around me.
Don't even say the word shoes. So, well, let's go. So, what was everybody's favorite part of the movie? Like, it could be like a single line that was said. Like, it could be a moment. Like, what was y'all's favorite part?
So, I feel like I'm the only one in the theater. I've seen it twice already, and both times I'm the only one who seems to have caught the point. So when they're in the lab, and Ned calls out Peter. And they're all pointing at each other. Nobody else got it. And I'm just like, come on, guys. This is what I came here for. The iconic Spider-Man thing. I got it.
They weren't in the memes.
I was like, I got it. They weren't in the Spider-Man mask and stuff like that. But I felt like it went over so many people's head, because I'm sitting there like the dumb guy. Yes, they did it. And everyone's looking at me like, dude, what's wrong with you? I'm like, they're doing the point, guys. The point. The point.
Have you been on the internet in 2 days? Yeah, they're doing the point. I noticed that, and I felt like it was subtle, because I think they knew everyone was expecting the suits like that, and they're like, you know what, let's switch it up a little bit.
Especially after Into the Spider-Verse, they literally just went,
yeah.
Like at the end, they literally were just like, everybody was there like.
That was definitely, it was up there. It was definitely up there as a true comic book Spider-Man nerd. I was just like, yes, they did it. You can't have this amazing opportunity, which maybe they'll do this again where they bring all three of them back, but you can't have this amazing opportunity and not do it. And then for it to actually happen, not the way everyone thought it was going to happen. And I'm literally, I swear I'm the only one clapping, and they're looking at me like I'm retarded. I'm just like, did you not get it? I was like, what's wrong with you people? Like, you don't deserve this movie.
You don't deserve this. Get out of my movie theater.
Just get out.
Okay, Josh, what was your favorite part of the movie?
You mean other than from beginning to end? I believe that should count. And I had a lot of moments in this movie that I cried like a baby. Mm-hmm. I vocally yelled happy thoughts, but I have to say the ending, when, like I said, they're doing the college stuff. Obviously we saw the apartment, so Peter's going to be late on his rent. We all know this. he's going to do his his Peter Parker thing, but then they kind of zoomed in a little bit on the sewing machine. Mm-hmm. And then you got the classic Spider-Man suit, not the not the Stark classic, the classic where you're like, they did the whole thing. They didn't even stop. They kept doing the thing. And I love this. And honestly, and I noticed it also on a Maguire's suit, which I don't remember his suit doing that little gleam, I guess. Like the little
that just sounds like better technology than they had in 2000 and whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
They can make it look like that now.
But that part, when you saw him kind of going in the line of all the other Spider-Men, they all have the same kind of suit. He knows that there's more Spider-Men out there, and he's gonna, I don't want to say follow in their footsteps, because essentially it's his footsteps. Mm-hmm. But he knows that Spider-Man can do more, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he saw what older versions of him can do, and he's like, okay, let's do it. And I loved it. Oh, it was so great. Okay,
so random tangent from that. So this movie takes place in 2023, correct?
I think so. It's supposed to be what was it, 5 years after the snap still, right?
So because 2023.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah.
So if you notice, they had all those like Christmas decorations up at the end of the movie, right? Where it was like
Mhm.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
You know, the season finale for Hawkeye is this week, right? At Christmas time in 2023. And they showed New York swinging around, or they showed Spider-Man swinging around downtown New York. And the season finale for Hawkeye is supposed to take place at 30 Rock. Do we see Spider-Man in fucking Hawkeye season finale?
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Because like it shows him responding to the police scanner and like just slinging around on his web. Maybe the call that he was responding to was the fight that Hawkeye and Kate Bishop are getting into at 30 Rock with Wilson Fisk.
It would be almost even more entertaining because obviously in the very beginning of the movie they introduced the Netflix Matt Murdock, but for those who watched Hawkeye, you knew it was coming, right? Because
Yeah.
Kingpin showed up in it. It's the Netflix Kingpin branch. Awesome. So what if you, on top of that, they go a branch further and Daredevil's there as well?
That would be well. What I would love, and I was talking to because we went me, Serena, and my roommate today. I told him also. Vincent D'Onofrio's in Hawkeye for Wilson Fisk, which everyone pretty much knew because
they made the references all
Yeah.
season long, and then finally it was like, all right, here it is.
Yeah, it's
they
one of those
they
things
whipped
where
it
it's
out,
like-
laid it on the table. Here it is.
Yeah, they just put them on the glass. They did that. I lost my train of thought. Never mind, I picked it back up. If all this Netflix is confirmed now, Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. They're obviously going to do future projects because they said Wilson Fisk. This opens up a whole new avenue for Marvel. I hope that's what it is. I hope that at the ending of Hawkeye, we see Spidey swing in and Daredevil because I will give Disney every single one of my paychecks. I will forward them all to Disney. I'm making a promise right now. Disney, hold me to this.
Careful now. Careful.
They don't need your money. They'll take your money, but they don't need your money.
They don't need my money. But I know Disney will take my money. You know how I know? Because Disney takes my money all the time. Every day almost.
But because I thought the timing of that, because it was so crazy to me that they timed it where the Hawkeye episode comes out on Wednesday and you see the Kingpin. And then the movie comes out the next day and there's Matt Murdock from that same, they had to have planned that out when they picked the date for No Way Home.
And
that was what was going to happen. So it wouldn't surprise me that then they would turn around for the next episode of Hawkeye. If you planned it where this was going to happen and you knew it, why couldn't you keep it going for the come on, he's right there. We know he's there. We saw the movie.
Yeah.
Even if it's just him swinging in the background. I don't.
Yeah, I don't. I'll sit there and go the entire time.
Hey, Peter!
Look where I'm pointing.
They even make a reference in Hawkeye, Natasha's sister, when she said she wanted to see the new Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And obviously it's new because they were getting ready to put Captain America's shield over the torch. So they're there. It's just right there.
It's cohesive.
It's 100% cohesive. She's probably going to be sad because she's not going to see the new Statue of Liberty, but she's never been to New York anyways, so it doesn't matter. She's happy.
Just tell her it's new. Look at that. It's brand new.
Brand new. Or it'd be cool if they show the Statue of Liberty and you see the aftermath of the battle that clearly just went down. Or the other question is clearly this had to have happened maybe before or kind of sometime. Because what was Hawkeye? If Spider-Man's over on the other side of the city fighting all these big baddies, what were you doing, man?
So I think that I think that the Spider-Man, because obviously it starts out where it picks up is right after Far From Home, which was a summer, because they were going on a summer field trip. And so when he gets back, that's literally where it starts. And so like you're looking at maybe a June or July. I would kind of say June because like I don't remember, like you didn't see any like 4th of July stuff. So like I'm thinking June. And then I believe it said it was 6 months later, right? Like when they did the little jump forward after the.
I think so.
So that would put it at like November. So like I think all of this happened like November, and then you probably took him a couple days to find the apartment, move in, do all that stuff. So probably like it was like that little bit of time in between. Because we know that the Hawkeye show takes place literally like the week of Christmas.
Yeah.
So, like it's like that all happened probably like last month, and now this month's thing is Hawkeye and the Tracksuit Mafia.
New York ain't catching a break, but I have a question. All right, so no one knows Peter Parker exists, which means Stark Foundation, whatever he was getting, if he got anything, yeah, that ain't happening. Unemployed. Mm-hmm. He's obviously taking his GED because of the book in the box. What is he doing that he's going to afford an apartment in New York?
A Daily Bugle. That's
he's going to be a fucking photojournalist.
That's what I think happened. But also, I feel like if they were going to do the Daily Bugle thing at the end of this, they were going to show like a camera or like, him go, oh no, JJ's an ass or something like that. But instead they're like, and also this is not a happy ending, by the way. Every Spider-Man movie I've ever 98% of the Spider-Man movies I've ever seen is happy ending and then Gwen dies. But.
Well, I mean, what was it? The Tobey Maguire ones where they ended on the funeral?
I think the first one ends with Norman Osborn's funeral.
Yep.
That's kind of sad.
Matter of fact, does it almost essentially the second one, or the Spectacular Spider-Man, the first one ends kind of on a funeral because Gwen's dad dies in the first one.
Yeah. And never mind. Spider-Man is, in a sense, one of the most
Spider-Man always ends sad. What are you talking about?
I forgot that. Look, I really didn't care about Gwen's dad because he was not an important character. I'm sorry. Captain Stacy was not someone that I remembered until right this second. So let's go ahead and chalk that one up as we're not going to count that one. But in all honesty, every Spider-Man movie ends with the villains dying and then one time, this... I don't know. I expected it to be not exactly a happy ending because the whole movie is kind of like depressing. But towards the ending, I was like, oh, he's going to tell her. He's going to talk to her. He's going to do the thing. And then he doesn't. And I get why they did it. Because they did it like subtly where it's like, okay, their lives are better now that they don't know me. And I go for it. I want to see what they're doing. But also, I cried like a baby.
I mean, you also saw her still wearing the necklace, though.
Yeah.
So something told her that that necklace means a lot to her. She just doesn't know what. So like clearly, it's still there. It's just
and clearly they're gonna do it. Next movie or movie after that, they're gonna bring everything back together. We're gonna get the Pete and MJ show. I'm for it. But I was also sitting there like, if he doesn't ever tell her, I don't think I'll be upset.
That's fair. I actually don't know if they would actually tell her, or maybe maybe they branch in and bring in a Gwen in this universe, because what most people forget is Gwen happens long before Mary Jane happens.
Yeah.
We like to skirt around it, but Gwen should happen. So maybe he goes and, I don't know, dates some blonde named Gwen, and then later he comes back to this. He puts a pin in it. He saves his emotions for later, and it's like, all right, Mary Jane, I never forgot about you, but I thought, the typical story, I thought your life was better without me, so I decided not to. Maybe he never tells her again, but I'm sure, because they're just so cute on screen, I'm sure they'll end up back together at some point, but maybe not right away. Because that was kind of depressing. I was like, tell her, just say it, say I love you, just say it.
I want to hear it from your lips.
See if love transcends magic and all this good trash, right? You know, I was like, do it, and then he just walks out.
Yeah, it was one of those where the entire time, like I was like, do it, and then I was like, hold up, let's just watch what happens. Let's see what's going on. And I 100% thought, I don't know, I think it's because I've watched too many movies where people have amnesia and suddenly best friends, and I 100% thought he was going to see Ned and MJ together, and I was like, oh, that's gonna lead him down a road. That's gonna lead him down a road. And he's gonna be pissed.
That would hurt. That would hurt.
I would have. I might have yelled. I might have had some words.
I'm like, Marvel, that's too far. That's a stab too far too deep into the back. Like, they clearly, how in the course of like a few weeks did we go from you guys were just friends because you didn't forget each other, so you knew you were just friends, so all of a sudden love interest. That means it was always there to begin with.
It was just one of those things. I guess it was just the way
it be your own people.
Everything was
It be your own people.
It seemed that the way everything was flowing, in a sense, it did kind of feel like, oh, he's gonna see it, and he still loves MJ, but also Ned's his best friend, so he's not gonna try and do this. And I'm glad it didn't happen, because then I would have had nothing but just anger in my heart. But instead, I had hope. I had hope that the next movie is just going to be even more of a Jeff's kiss. Dude, did there? I did it. I said the thing.
We're big fans of Kevin Smith, and on his podcast, he kept saying, like, he used the phrase chef's kiss, and like people in the comments would always be like, who is Jeff and why does he keep talking about his kiss? And so they just went with it and just now call things Jeff's kiss. And like, they made a t-shirt. I still haven't got it. I want to get one. And it just says like Jeff's kiss on it. I really want to get one just because it's hilarious. But since you brought up Gwen, I'll talk about my favorite part of the movie. It was when I was right. So if you go back and
spoilers,
if you go back and listen to our very first podcast episode we did, it was right when they announced that like it was when they announced that, I think, or it wasn't really announced, but it was like leaked that Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, you're gonna have Jamie Foxx, like Willem Dafoe might be in it, you're gonna have Alfred Molina might be in it. It was when all those rumors were starting to come out, and we were talking about it, and I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if they gave Andrew Garfield like the redemption, because this is going to be like after like he, with Gwen, like wouldn't it be awesome if there was like a way that they make it where this time he actually gets to save the girl from falling, and like it, he gets the redemption arc. I literally called that. It was November of 2020. I would like my check, please.
And not only did you call it, but the second it happened, I looked at Serena and I was like, Jeff was right. I was like, oh.
For everybody watching, if you want to go back to our first episode, I timestamped it in the comments. So you can literally go back and hear me say, wouldn't it be awesome if they give Andrew Garfield a redemption arc where he actually, because like that was, I was like, it was something about like fix all the things that they did wrong in the past. So it's like, Andrew Garfield gets to like actually save the girl, and different. I was like, and that's literally what like the plot of the movie was them fixing the past.
But then it begs the question, like, how does that alter their current timelines? Or are we going low key and we're making all these branch effects now, right? Because all of that guys essentially got plucked right before they either died or were saved or transformed.
So I think it was like the moment that they learned that Peter was.
Oh yeah.
Peter was Spider-Man. So like when Alfred Molina was pulled, it was like in that final scene, like really right before he dies, but it's from the moment that he learns when, Tobey Maguire takes off the mask and shows him, and then that's like when he changes into like the good guy. So it's like as soon as he takes off the mask, like before he actually convinces him to change back, like that's the Molina that shows up. Goblin learns earlier in the movie, so it's not like right before he dies, because there's that scene where he like calls Peter and is like, can Spider-Man come out to play, and like the Willem Dafoe voice that only he can do.
I think when Green Goblin figured out, it was at that Thanksgiving part, right? Because of the cut on his
Like,
arm.
on his arm.
somewhere,
Yeah,
it's like something like that. And then like Connor's nose, whenever he finds the camera, so like it's not right before he dies. And then like the weird one was Jamie Foxx, like Electro, because it's like he really never found out in the movie that it was. Otherwise, why make the joke about I thought you'd be black? Like it.
Yeah, that was one of those things where I got that that's something, a trope that's in every Spider-Man movie. They all eventually figure out who Spider-Man is because he's literally the worst at keeping his identity a secret. Jamie Foxx never gave a shit. He never really cared.
So I think that it's more like the moment that they figured out is when they got pulled. So some of them, like it may, like with Doc Ock, who knows if it saves him? Like he may still go back and then the thing goes fucking haywire and he falls into the ocean or the river or whatever it was. Like Goblin, I think that it would be, you would probably just get new branch timelines, but based on what's going on, like this is I think after Loki, so this is kind of after the TVA kind of falls into its turmoil where Kang takes over, so maybe they don't care. Because like that's the TVA's whole thing, is like if the TVA was fully operational, would we even get this movie? Probably not. So the fact that the TVA is now like under Kang and like obviously not caring, like maybe that's why this was able to happen. Or like they knew it was going to fix itself and they said whatever, and maybe like off screen they're dealing with the even though they go back fine, like the TVA is like nuke, there you go.
This never happened.
That one.
Yeah.
All this thing, we spent years and years and years with 20 movies bringing together. We just nuked it. It never happened. Forget any of this. Toby and Andrew were never on the screen. This never happened. Sorry. Yeah, Matt Murdock, he doesn't exist in this world. It just didn't happen. We can't allow this. That's what the TVA is going to say. We just can't allow this.
What I will say is, and I feel like it's one of the underrated jokes in the movie with, I was part of the Avengers. That's awesome. What is that?
Band?
You're in the band? It is also a comedic listening to them talk about Toby's webs.
Yes.
Does it come out of anywhere else?
Anywhere else?
Yeah.
The best part was Andrew Garfield's like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But yes, does it come out of anywhere else? But why? But I want to know.
It's an honest
Why
question,
would you
right?
ask that?
That is, wow. You don't just ask that. You get to know someone. You sit there about 3 years and like, look, I've always wondered. Anywhere else? No. Okay.
It's a valid question. Spiders.
It's a valid question. If you haven't known someone 5 minutes, if you've known someone 5 minutes, I feel like that's a felony.
Well, theoretically, he's known them his whole life because it's him. So
that's fair.
That is fair. You know what? I take back what I said. I take back. This is just your TVA. Hit it.
TVA.
Oh, just make sure they're not going to kick my door open and just move this timeline. It never happened.
I loved how they kept bringing back like all the iconic lines from like the old movies. So like obviously we get Aunt May this time giving the
Uncle May
the comics accurate, with great power there must also be great responsibility, whereas the other movies like shorthanded it and it was Uncle Ben.
Uncle May.
Uncle May.
Uncle May.
We got this. I think my favorite like laugh from the whole movie was when he's like collecting all of them in the cages, and he was talking about trying to help fix them, and Willem Dafoe was like, I'm something of a scientist myself. Yeah. I was like, they did the meme. They did the meme.
That was funny. But I will say,
Doc Ock kept bringing back the power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
What there's like one more that I'm forgetting that they did.
There's one in the very beginning when the high school like announcer, she says, "Go get him, Tiger."
Oh yeah, that was another one.
Angered me. I was sitting there like, look, you let Mary Jane say that. That is her line. You let her say it now. Okay, I'll let you just act like you didn't say that. I'll turn around. When I turn back around, that better be MJ saying it. I'll close my eyes and count to 3.
TBA, where are you?
Yeah, TBA, where are you when we need you? But no, I will say one of my favorite, and it is kind of like a nostalgic, heartfelt moment, was when Otto was saying, the power of the sun, and Tobey Maguire comes up in the palm of your hand, and he's like, Parker, you look old. He goes, yeah. He goes, how are you doing? He's like, still trying to be better. I was like, he's said it because he said that to him when he was younger, and it's just so beautiful. And Serena looks at me, she's like, you're such a baby. I was like, look, you don't understand. Okay, you weren't there. You weren't there.
Like I kept thinking the entire time in the theater, I was like, you people just don't deserve this movie, right?
Yeah.
You just don't. You guys, you just don't get it. I would say they're choking back the tears the entire time that all 3 of them are on the screen, because you essentially like that's my childhood right there. The first one came out in 2000, 2003.
I think it's 2000. Yeah.
4th, 5th grade, and then we got one when we were in high school, and now we're adults. Air quotes on that one. We're adults, and so we had all 3 phases of Spider-Man. Who obviously huge Spider-Man fan over here. So obviously, all 3 phases of Spider-Man on the screen at one time, and then it's Peter in 3 different parts of his life. The very beginning of his struggles of Spider-Man, the middle portion, he's lost the love of his life, and then the won't call it end, but older adult, 30s, later years of he's kind of figured out how to be Peter. He's figured out how to be Spider-Man, and he understands that, hey, they can exist together. It is a struggle, but they can exist together. And like my brain was just like, yes, like, yes,
dopamine.
And then watching it the second time, I'm jittery the entire movie because I just want to get back to that point where all 3 of them are on the screen. I'm just so jittery. Not that the beginning parts of the movie weren't great, because they are, but it's just like the movie was, we'll call it like a 6 or a 7, and then that happens, and we tripled it. We went to an 18 at that point, and all 3 of them on the screen. I was like, I don't care what happens from here on out. I am completed. It doesn't even matter. The movie can end right now and say, tune in for part 2. And I would have been okay with that. Fantastic. I was just like, yeah, that just awesome. The whole sequence of Ned doing showing the Peter
was so awesome.
I miss Peter.
I miss Peter. And then you see I was like, no, it is.
I think the moment that got me was when they went and found him up on the school, and he said she told me that with great power, and then they both answered, comes great responsibility. I was like, oh, that was the one that they were all like, oh, we all got told that, like,
shared experience.
Well, not only that, but they kind of did a bounce off of Spider-Verse when they all found Miles in the room.
Yep.
For me, it was my Uncle Benjamin. It was my father. It was my Uncle Ben. With them, it was it was my Uncle Ben. It was Gwen, my MJ. They were able to sit there and go, look, we can tell you all day long, or people can say all day long they know what you're going through. We actually do, because
we also went through that.
But I asked the question. Tom Holland has to be the most depressed one, right? Because he doesn't have 2 parents. He lost both his parents. I don't know where the hell Uncle Ben is. Maybe he went to go get some milk and never came back. I don't know. Well, Uncle Ben's gone. And then he lost Aunt May. I'm just like, that's 4 people that poor Tom Holland is just.
He lost Tony. And he lost Tony, his father figure.
I'm just like, wow, Tom Holland just can't, like, if anyone deserves an emo arc in the next movie, it's Tom Holland. He's suffered enough loss for all of us to actually deserve the emo arc when he puts on the Venom costume. I truly wonder if they're going to recreate that little dance scene. Because Tom Holland.
God, I hope so. I would be so happy.
that would just be so perfect to just do it again, do it all over again, because they saw the tiny piece of the Venom suit left at the end. So it'd be a little hilarious, just a small bit if they do the little dance again as he's dancing down the street. Maybe make it even more cringeworthy this time.
Oh God!
Go full cringe.
They also kind of showed you if they wanted to go in the direction of what was the Spider-Man book where Craven killed everyone. Peter, and I think it was there's a skin for it in the PS4 game, but it was essentially Craven killed MJ and Harry and all of his friends. So Harry just went Peter just went full Red Hood and started taking out all of his rogues. And I think that end where he's just kicking Willem Dafoe's ass, and you're telling like, oh, should we do something because he'll kill him. Like he don't care. He's gonna go.
He picked up that glider and just was ready to go full John Walker on that man with the glider.
It honestly kind of showed that this universe Peter Parker might, I don't want to say unstable, but I think he's lost enough to where at this point he's like, look, one more person.
Or in this one, I feel like they did a better job. Sure, in Spectacular Spider-Man or Amazing Spectacular Spider-Man, they were, all of them started in high school, but like this is the one where they truly show that he is he's a child. He's young. Yeah. Doctor Strange talks about it, like he's young, and this for anyone would be a lot to deal with. You know, you just lost, your father, mother, whatever figure, your everything figure, and Uncle May. That's what I'm going to call her forever. It's just Uncle May.
Oh, without a doubt, that's the new name. We're going to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, Uncle May. So he loses Uncle May, and he's lost Tony, and it's just a lot of loss. And as a teenager to go through that, I'd probably murk William Dafoe too. But the thing I want to say is, are we just going to pretend like Toby didn't get stabbed like in the heart or something? Yeah. And are we just going to leave that alone? Does Toby go back to his world and die or something? Like,
yeah, that was one thing I was like, he should be dead. Like there's no world where he's like, oh, shawarma after this? No, he's 100%. I saw where that was stabbed. Healing factor or not, you're gonna need a minute. You're not standing up like, whew, okay, that hurts.
I just wish
I'm gonna walk over here.
I just wish he would have got stabbed and he just goes, oh, my back.
I did love the back cracking scene. Yeah.
They made reference to all of the memes. Like I thought they did a great job of like working in like because like it's the moments that they knew we were gonna want to see if they did, and like they, without just straight up, other than I'm something of a scientist myself. They just kind of did the little workaround for it. It wasn't like just a straight up like copy paste. It was like, oh, we're doing it our own way now.
That or the Jamie Foxx in the woods, like, so y'all gonna stand there and act like I'm not just standing here butt ass naked.
And then Sandman's like, yeah, I am.
Like, do you see clothes? Because I don't.
He's like, hey, I'm just trying to keep my eyes up here. Just keep my eyes up.
Jamie Foxx like, up here.
Eyes up here, sir, eyes up here.
I'm glad that they showed both the blue version of Electro and then them fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was clever.
He was blue for about like 2 minutes.
Comment on that. So in your guys' last podcast, I had written out this whole paragraph, but I was like, nobody wants to see me nerd out. So in the current iteration of the comic of Spider-Man, Electro is blue. So it's not like, I'll show you the picture after this. Electro was blue that way, the way that he was in Spectacular Spider-Man. So it's not, they're not crazy. It wasn't like out of left field. Electro was just, he's blue like that now in the current iteration of it. So I was like, yes, I get it. Not the typical Electro that we are used to, although you get multiple iterations of Electro throughout the year, but not the one we're used to where, sometimes he has fishnet on, sometimes he's the classic yellow and green one that we got for this one. If you guys saw the little
like when he charged up, like it did the mask, and I was like,
the mask, the goofy mask. But he is blue in a universe. We'll just call it that. In a universe, he
Did not know
is
that.
blue.
I don't
So-
necessarily mind the blue. I just hated that they made him look like a worse version of
Dr. Manhattan,
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan. It was like a worse version of Dr. Manhattan.
and
I was
only
like,
worse
why are
because
you-
he wasn't naked.
That would have been intimidating. Just Jamie Foxx walking up like, "Come on, hey Spider-Man, you want to hit me?" No, I'm good, man. I'm staying over here. You want to kill? Go right ahead. I'm done. Hey, Gwen, we're going home.
It's also Dr. Manhattan be like one of the most powerful beings in the universe. He's also naked, so it's like I don't want to fight you. Why would I want to fight? Put some pants on, man. Like that's
And I
just
will say
weird.
the first time I ever watched Watchmen, that threw me off more than the whole movie. I was like, "Is that whoa? Okay, that's what we're doing. That's the movie that this is."
It was
Okay.
it was like that scene in Ragnarok where you see like the Thor ass and like when he's walking by you see Hemsworth like
so naked.
because he's like trying not to look at it.
It was but no, this movie, it was a rock star of a movie. I loved it. I'll watch it 1,000 times. The second it comes out on Blu-ray, you know I'm gonna be right there in line like, yo, take the last copy. I dare you. I will fight you. So great.
I coined the line the week prior, and then the day prior when spoilers were just showing up everywhere, and I made it all the way to the theater, and I'm walking in. I got there an hour early, super stoked. I'm walking in, and as people are walking out, I hear them talking about the movie. I literally look over at them and I say, if you continue to talk about the movie, I will send you to meet Uncle Ben. I was like, I didn't make it. It's the Thursday. It's Thursday. I went and saw it on Thursday. I didn't make it. I worked a 12-hour shift. I stayed off the internet. I did everything right. I checked all the boxes to be at the theater for someone to ruin it while I'm at the theater. Yes, I was that serious. Uncle Ben meetings, I'm handing them out.
I'm handing out meetings.
They are
You want a
free of
reunion with
charge
Uncle Ben?
if you keep running your mouth.
That is one thing that I never understand. I get that you just saw an amazing movie. If you're watching someone walk into the theater, we're gonna play a little game. It's called Shut the Hell Up. You have a car, talk about it in the car.
And it's not even like you got to guess what movie is this man going to go see. I wore this to the movie theater, right? I should just put the mask up, right? You know what movie I was going to go see. It's like also when I
went to go see Ghostbusters or some other fucking movie.
Let's just not talk about it.
Is he here for The Matrix a week early?
What he's doing? It was even funnier. There was in the theater, we rent. Apparently, some very rich family rented out essentially the whole theater. But I'm a super fan. So I bought my tickets real early. I was sitting dead center in the middle. Life was great. And as these kids look over at me and they're like, hey, because I'm in the middle of like all their friends. Do you mind switching seats at us? I just looked at him. I looked at what I'm wearing. I looked at him, looked at what I'm wearing. I said, what do you think? He stopped talking to me.
What do you
think?
What do you come on, man. Let's not ask foolish questions.
You want to talk about that when Rogue One came out? I went to go see it opening night, and I shit you not, there's a dude in a full like scout trooper armor just sitting there, just like, and I'm just like, okay, I know I know you, I got you. And then I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the dude who just got off work and it got drugged here by his kids. I was like, when I hear this guy talk the whole movie, bitching at his kids. But I mean, luckily our theater there were a couple people that talked, but a lot of them were like obvious Spider-Man fans. And it's like, it was a mutual respect of you laugh when it's appropriate. You make your, when it's appropriate. Other than that, no words are said. We're not going to talk to each other. We're going to enjoy this as if it were a church.
It was a holy day for me.
Oh, without a
holy day.
As if it were a church.
It was a church. It was the Church of Spidey.
I was happy that the lady in front who had like her 2-year-old who started crying. I'm glad that she respected the holy day and just took herself and removed herself and the baby from the theater before I removed the baby by way of punting from the theater. like, for those who haven't been on my channel, like, to put in perspective how big a Spider-Man fan I am, both my kids are named after Spider-Man characters. My daughter's name is Mary Jane. My son's name is Miles. My motorcycle's name is Gwen. My channel's name is Black Spider-Man. I have 4 Spider-Man tattoos. I got Miles Morales, Peter, Gwen, and Venom.
I dig it.
Spider-Man is it's me, so I get real worked up, real serious about it when people start like, I will fight you. Like, again, free reunions to meet Uncle Ben. I promise you. Like, that was my guy Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Huge Spider-Man fan.
I'm gonna be the same way in March when the Batman comes out in theaters. If you ask me a question, I swear, say hi to Thomas and Martha for me, because you're gonna get real personal with them real quick.
Have you ever met Martha Wayne?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
You want to?
Yeah. You ever met Martha Wayne? Oh, she's right outside in the alley.
Gonna be like one of those TikTok memes.
No.
Gonna be one of those TikTok memes when that concert where a bunch of people died and they're partying, and then the concert turns into a Juice WRLD concert who's dead rapper.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna be. You're at Batman. You're excited. Hey man, just talking through the whole movie, and then you're partying with Martha.
You're partying. Let's go. Say hi to Christopher Reeves for me. Okay, he's gonna be there too. It's a DC heaven walk up. But movie was great. I'll watch it 1,000 more times. Even the little bit that we saw Matt Murdock made me so happy. This movie was made for fans. It's a great movie, and it forwards the story, but also there's enough for them to go, look, you obviously have loved this character for so long. We're going to give you little nods. We're going to give you what you want. You're going to see 3 Spider-Men all at once. But it was a movie that, with everything as crazy as things are lately, it's one of those, there is still some good in this world, and I saw it today. Everything, none of that shit actually matters, because we live in a world where we can get Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland to sit there and go, I love you guys. Thanks. So,
it was a win.
Yeah. Speaking of you were talking about like the movie going forward, like what do you think the next movie is going to be about? Because obviously we see him studying for the GED. He's probably trying to find a job to afford his New York City apartment that I would imagine that, RIP Uncle May, her will and testament can only go so far in New York City. And
even if she has a will and testament, he ain't getting it.
Exactly, because no one knows who Peter Parker is anymore. So
she could have left him billions of dollars. What's he supposed to do? Hi, I didn't exist until 2 seconds ago.
So we obviously know he's gonna have to work. We could see we know that MJ Ned going off to college. Maybe he's trying to get into college. We could see college year stuff. In the end credit scene, we see the little Venom blob left over. So obviously, they're setting up for the ability to do the Venom, the actual Venom storyline. So they were able to tease the Tom Hardy thing, and then use that to tease them going to do the actual comic storyline of where the Venom suit, the Venom, the symbiote attaches to Peter, and then now you make the real Venom.
It's not. Although I do enjoy the Tom Hardy version of Venom, nothing against it, but I don't think he quite fits in this universe the way that he is now. He's granted, I get it, artistic freedoms, and you don't have to follow the comic book. I get all that, but this Venom is too much of a hero. He's a hero at the end of the day, an anti-hero because he might kill you. He's a Batman, but he's a hero. No one's gonna be like, oh, Batman's a villain. No one would be like Tom Hardy's Venom's a villain. No one at all. And Venom is a villain. Anti-hero at times, but he's a villain. And unless he's teaming up to fight, teaming up with Spider-Man to fight Carnage, he's usually a villain. He's doing villain things. So I would hope that maybe they touch on it. Again, I'm hoping for the bad dance scene in there or something like that. But
Or, in Marvel's thing where maybe it was just too obvious. They showed it to you. This is a possibility, but we're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna come back to that later. Venom exists somewhere in this world, but we're not gonna touch on it quite yet. But I definitely think the next movie will have him working at the Daily Beagle. It's gonna be hilarious. He's gonna work at the Daily Beagle.
I think it's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think it's gonna be great. It's also kind of what you're saying about Tom Hardy. As much as I would have loved to see Venom and Spidey interact, I'm glad I didn't, because it would have been too much for this. And it's 100% right. He's too much of a hero in the Venom movies, like anti-hero all day long. But it's like I can't see them fighting right now. I can't see the whole symbiote suits happening right now, just because of how heavy this movie was.
It would have been following suit with what happened in Tobey Maguire's third movie, where they did too much.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of villains in this, obviously, but we didn't have to, give the background stories of the villains. We didn't need the origin stories of the villains. You knew who these villains were. So there was no, we're going to call this the sixth Peter 1's first time of actually meeting a lot of these villains, but we knew who the villains were. We didn't have to go through their backstory. Whereas you kind of you wouldn't have had to do it with Venom, but he would have had to have the whole 300 or 180 degree turn where, we're fighting, J. Jonah Jameson said you're a bad guy. We fight. Oh, now we're friends. Now I'm gonna help you. It would have been a lot to plug in there with everything was going on. So I also agree that I'm so happy that they left it kind of how it was, where he's in the universe, air quotes, but he's not really in it. He's about as much in the universe as Toby is and Andrew is. It's a possibility. It's something we can go back to and touch on in later movies, but there's going to be their own Venom in this universe. And I appreciated that. I was happy that they set it up this way. Nothing against the Tom Hardy. They just need to go ahead and make that movie rated R, first of all. But, nothing against the Tom Hardy's version of Venom, but he just, to me, didn't quite fit in this universe in the way that it's going right now. So.
Oh yeah, and it's also, each villain was able to get their own, like you said, the stories, but they were able to get enough care to where it didn't feel like one was left out. You're talking to Sandman, you're also talking to Electric. You have enough towards like, okay, we're not having the actual villains and then, Calendar Man over here. We're having everyone, they're bouncing off of each other. Honestly, it flowed well enough. If Venom was in there, it would have been a wasted opportunity. I don't think anyone would have liked it, because they wouldn't have been able to give Venom the amount of time they needed.
It just wouldn't have. When they went the direction of where they went with Toby and Andrew, at that point, putting Venom in there just would have taken away from what was happening and us enjoying 3 Spider-Men versus their 5 villains, or 4 really. But, it would have taken away if you would have put Tom Hardy in there, because that's not Spider-Man. That's somebody else. That's someone we have no idea. There is no relation. There's no Uncle May for him. There's no MJ for him. There's no relationship to any Peter Parker, because he's never met a Peter Parker, even in his universe. So he was just someone random, and I'm happy that they did it the way they did it, because, like, my favorite Marvel movie, I'm biased, don't care, favorite Marvel movie that's come out, I would be highly surprised if it doesn't surpass Endgame and the Infinity Wars to begin with. I'd be highly surprised, because I've seen it twice. My sister just came back in town from med school. I will probably go see it for a third time. I'm addicted to this movie, and I'm addicted for the rush that you get when you see Andrew and Toby on the screen. It's just, I need that. I need to bottle that up and sell that. That'd be the greatest drug ever.
Well, not only that, but the rush of seeing them all web sling together and then throw them to, it's like, okay, so they got it. They know what they're doing.
Like they did the teamwork thing, or like they had their little powwow. I'm part of the Avengers. What's the Avengers? You're a band. Yeah, they did that, and then just to see all 3 of them just jump off and free fall for a little bit. Like I said, the movie was already a 6 or a 7. It became a 30. when we're just gonna keep increasing the number every time. It became a 30 when I saw all three of them. Like there's almost nothing they were gonna do that could have been wrong at that point for me because it was just yes, just yes. That's all I can say is yes.
So I saw earlier where the numbers for the first weekend box office, it was at 256 million.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
And it's the first movie since like 2019 that was over 100 million in its like opening weekend. And it's the third biggest in history, and I think it's behind. I think Endgame was one of them.
Endgame, I know, had an opening weekend, a huge opening weekend.
Yeah.
Endgame also had the, because it's Endgame, it had a part 1, so you knew what was going to be in. Like everyone who hasn't seen any spoilers, I'm sorry if anyone has ruined the movie and you haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry if that's what happened to you. But anyone who hasn't seen the movie, some of them are probably like kind of on the fence. But if you knew, like a part 1, the Toby, Andrew, and Tom Holland were on the screen, and then there's a part 2 where you actually got to see them fight, I guarantee you it would have been up there as well. But as I continue to say, it doesn't even matter. I don't care what the numbers say. In my heart, it's number 1. And I'm going to be right there.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's okay, here it is. So literally the only two movies that have had bigger box office openings were Infinity War and Endgame. That's literally the only two. Like literally in cinema history, it's the only two.
It's the number 3. Obviously, someone knows what they're doing.
Clearly, they know what they're doing. Although Spider-Man is one of the most iconic Marvel characters, right? So
I was gonna say, like, in terms of just pure, if you ask a random person if they've heard of this character, I think the only ones that I could even see like being known more than Spider-Man would be Batman and Superman. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like it's top 5 level. It's like top 5 most known heroes around the world, period. Like people who don't even know comic books or like have never read a comic book in their life know who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Like they know who Batman, because like everyone knows who fucking Batman is. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Like everybody knows. Like these are iconic characters. And like I think that leads to the numbers is like this is like a family friendly movie. Like where we like everyone got the Batman trailer in their show. Like that's not a movie you take like an 8-year-old to see. Like but Spider-Man, like you're taking like it's for all ages. Like I think was the movie PG-13?
Yep. About
yeah. Because I think it barely cracked the 13, other than like I think it would be like violence maybe that got it there, and the fact that Doctor Strange said because they upgraded it from because it was crap in the trailer and it was shit in the movie, and I was like, oh, they upgraded. Hello. So
please, can we Scooby-Doo this shit?
Yeah, that was so funny. But yeah, no, Spider-Man's one of those. It's a family-friendly character. Marvel is primarily family-friendly, and that helps with it. I'll sit there. I'll agree with you. Best Marvel movie. The best Marvel movie that's been made. I think the second one has to be Far From Home, just because I'm a Mysterio guy. Other than that, No Way Home's best Marvel movie.
It's actually sad. I think I'm just a harsher critic because I honestly didn't really like Homecoming or Far From Home. They weren't. I wouldn't have ranked them. I've seen them a bunch of times, but because of Spider-Man, right? And I like Tom Holland's iteration of Spider-Man the best.
Oh yeah,
but
he's the best. I
hated his two previous movies. I'm going to be honest. They weren't my favorite. I would watch any of the Spectaculars before I watched Homecoming or Far From Home again. But this redeemed the entire trilogy, and I was like, man, like you could just go ahead and get rid of the other two and just have this one, and it's great. You know, it's just great. The other two, I was just like, nah, it's okay. It's the fact that it's Spider-Man is what's carrying it and why it's gonna do okay. But this one, I was just like, yes, like I was happy to tell people, go watch this movie. I don't want to ruin it for you. Just go watch it. Please just go watch it. We can discuss afterwards and you'll understand why I'm just like, just yes. Just yes. The answer is yes.
I think for me,
Yes,
like
1,000%.
my favorite is still Endgame, just because like I don't really have like a favorite hero. Like clearly I have the Batman shelf. So like, but like in terms of like
favorite hero.
in terms of like Marvel, like I really don't have one. So like for me, like Endgame and like seeing, because like Endgame, like it had those moments that like pushed the heartstrings like even more so than this one did. And
Yes.
and like it was just so much, and you got to see so many different people, and it was things that like you never thought you would see like on a movie ever. Like seeing Black Panther hand the gauntlet over to Spider-Man like in that movie was just the wildest thing to me, because like where else are you going to get this?
That is true.
And so like that one to me is like, it's just so hard to top because it's like everything. Like it's all of the movies in one. But this movie is like it's my second favorite. Like,
I mean, this was all of the movies in one. All of the Spider-Man movies in one, you know.
so like I think the one thing that both of them have in common for me is like the nostalgia is there. So like you get the nostalgia of like being a kid watching Tobey Maguire, where they tried to lie and tell you that Joe Manganiello was a high school student. Like, come on now, like we get it. But and then you know seeing the Andrew Garfield, like the two that he got, like I thought they were great. Like I always thought they were very underrated.
Yeah, same here.
And like I like the villains are like, I don't really like their Harry Osborn. The Electro to me just like looked weird. Like I thought Jamie Foxx was great. I just didn't like the design because it was just too Dr. Manhattan for me. But I thought that Andrew Garfield was fantastic. I enjoyed seeing a Gwen Stacy story instead of MJ. Like the fact that they actually were like, fuck it, let's kill her. Like that was wild to me. Like that they actually did it. Like I never thought they would do that either. But so you get the nostalgia of watching those movies along with it, but like you gotta understand, like Endgame had the nostalgia of from Iron Man and Hulk like all the way through. And it's like I've never left a movie theater like more shocked and just what the fuck than when I left after watching Infinity War, and then I had an entire year of nothing Marvel in between, and just every day think about it. Oh my god, how are they going to fix it? What are they going to do? When is this trailer coming out? Because like I remember, so Josh, you're not going to know these people, but I went and saw the movie with Fields and Steven. And like we all three of us just walked out of the movie theater quiet, just silently walking back to the vehicle after the blazing sun burned our retinas after coming out of the movie theater for 3 hours. And just, we didn't talk until we got to the car, and we were like, what the fuck just happened? Like, it was the wildest thing. So like Endgame like has everything for nostalgia. So I can't put it at number one. Like it has to be number two. Weirdly enough, Eternals is my third favorite. Like I never thought that would happen, but like I really loved Eternals.
I loved Angelina Jolie. The rest of the Eternals can just go away, but Angelina Jolie, I was just like, yes. Also, it was a disgusting moment. I don't know if anyone else felt disgusted to hear Kit say, I love you, Cersei. I almost puked. That was the most disgusting movie moment ever, to see Jon Snow say I love you, Cersei. I just wanted to blow my brains out. I was just like, how dare you? Queen Daenerys forever.
I've never seen Game of Thrones, so
I was about to say, here's the thing about that. I just started Game of Thrones like the other day, and I'm almost done with the first season. And you saying that makes I can hear my blood pressure rising.
How did you just not?
I never saw it.
I didn't have HBO for the longest time, and now I'm catching up on a lot of things.
Yes, the answer. Like I said, go finish Game of Thrones, go back, watch Eternals, and you'll understand even more why those words make me want to fray my own skin. Because I was just like, after 8 seasons of Cersei being Cersei, to hear Kit Harington, Jon Snow say, "I love you," I just wanted to go start a shotgun. So we'll leave that at that in the Eternals. Angelina Jolie was amazing. I love Angelina Jolie. She carried it for me. Not that it was bad. It definitely. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. I'm being honest.
It was a weird like movie where like the story was so good and compelling that like I could overlook all the weird things. Where it was like, okay, how do you get here from here? You know what? It's good. I'm just going to keep watching. Like every time it was like they went like a little bit of a stretch. I was like, no, you know what? I'll go with it. We'll see where this is going.
It wasn't bad. Like it truly, it was not bad. And I enjoyed it more, even with the like couple that was right to my right, and the entire movie they're just having a full-fledged conversation. The movie was good enough to keep the angers down, so I didn't hurt the people to my right. So it was a good movie, and I watched it because again, it's Marvel, right? And if it's Marvel, I'm going to pay attention to it because it's going to show up somewhere, some shape, some form in one of these movies again. So I was like, I'm going to watch it, and I was not disappointed. I'll be honest, I was not disappointed. It could have just been because of Angelina Jolie. I don't know, but the movie was pretty good.
So Josh, I know you haven't seen it yet, have you? You're waiting for the Disney Plus release.
This is the first movie I've gone to the theaters to see. Just because, as we know, this year has been you ever seen the movies and they run on the logs and they just get totally decimated by the logs? I'm the ant that gets rolled over. So no, I have not seen it yet. That might be one that I wait for Disney Plus as well, just because
I think it's like late January is when they said it was like late January, early February. Before we go, since I think everybody agrees the best Marvel thing this year was this movie, what was everybody's favorite thing that wasn't No Way Home? That was Marvel. Like it could have been a show, it could have been any of the other movies.
I won't lie to you. I actually have enjoyed Hawkeye more than I thought it was. I'm not a Hawkeye fan, and it used to be Loki. Loki was it for me. I was like, Marvel, this TV series stuff you did, Loki should be the bar. And I was like, there's no way you're going to be able to top it. And I truly feel like with Hawkeye that they stepped it up yet again. And I was just like, so Hawkeye has been my favorite No Way Home. But let's just be honest, it's like Hawkeye and then No Way Home, right? You can see the arms all the way up above the screen. You can't even see where Hawkeye is. But again, I guess I might be biased.
No Way Home's looking down like, should I throw a quarter?
No Way Home's looking like Shaq to Kevin Hart when his thing is just resting on his head. That's what this is, right? That's the reference I use to that. But yeah, I would say Hawkeye. It's been good. It's been real good. The story has been compelling. The first episode was harder. I feel like most of the first episodes were harder to get through, but the first episode was a little bit hard. But everyone after that, I was like, the story's not bad for a guy who just shoots boring arrows. This is actually not that boring. So Hawkeye would be it for me.
Yeah, I know. Like mine, like movie wise, is definitely Eternals because like I think that they didn't have. Well, I think Black Widow was like kind of was a miss, but like the other three were all like hits. Like every single like Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, like all of it, like none of them missed. It was just some were better than others.
Yeah.
But like this is like because like I know I talked about it on like the podcast before. I was like Black Widow, it just came out too late. Like to me it needed to be like you could have done it right after Endgame. Like if you would have put Black Widow where Far From Home, like in that slot, like I think it works better than like even like if it would have came out as intended during 2020. I still think it was too late, because it's like you've had so much time. There's been another movie, like now with it getting pushed back to July of this year, like there was 2 more TV shows. Like you're even further and further away from where you needed to release that movie. It was a miss. I love them introducing Yelena. I thought that was great, especially with her in, now 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Like I think that the character introduction was great because it gives us like a new Widow without it being Natasha. But movie wise, like it was definitely Eternals. And then weirdly, like I think my favorite show was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like to me, like the story was really cool, and like it was like I don't like, I think the worst one of them is WandaVision, but like they're all like real close together between like
WandaVision before I watched freaking Winter Soldier, and no.
I think my favorite part of the Falcon and Winter Soldier was it was more real world stakes as opposed to like Marvel level stakes. Like WandaVision, like it's all like magic and like
Cosmic.
Yeah, it's like cosmic stuff. And then you have Loki, it's cosmic again. Like it's probably the same thing that you love about Hawkeye, was that it's more like it's down to earth. Like you feel like you understand what,
It's relatable, right?
Yeah, and so like I enjoyed the story because it was relatable. Like it wasn't like super like space, aliens and like immortal beings. It was just like some dudes, and it was like it was a cool look at like the world post Captain America, and it was like it was I enjoyed the story of like, oh, what happens when you have something that holds this much power and you try and give it away to somebody who doesn't deserve it.
Yeah,
and it was. I really like that. I really like that we actually got to see like Isaiah Bradley. Like I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot, and I'm glad that they actually did a storyline on it, and it helped give us his grandson, who is actually in the Young Avengers. So like it also helped set up like that, because you could easily have like a Peter Parker, Kate Bishop, I can't remember. I think it was like Eli as Patriot.
Oh yeah.
You have like, I know they have one of the in like the Marvels, which is another show coming up. There's like a new, like the female for that's going to be like the lead for that, and then
Miss America.
Yeah, and then like technically like they showed Wanda's kids, but like they're kind of not in. But then there's also the Multiverse of Madness, and we don't know what the hell's going to happen. But like, so technically they've pretty much introduced like the entire Young Avengers lineup, and I think that would be, it was cool to see like that was the first one really to like help set it up. Like each show has like set up some part of because even like Loki, like there was a kid Loki, like you could easily pull him in as well, and like it's been the whole Young Avengers lineup. And I really just the Captain America story was more interesting to me than like Hawkeye, but it's not by much. Like it's like because like so maybe after this last episode, like I don't know what the hell's gonna happen, series finale, but I really enjoyed the Falcon and Winter Soldier. What about you, Josh?
For me, it was I'm on the same wavelength as you. I've loved everything Marvel's put out this year. It's been a great year for the fact that we didn't get anything last year.
Yeah.
I think the starting of we went a year with nothing. Yes, Black Widow wasn't particularly fond of, but as we said in the past video, it felt out of place. It felt like it's an important story, just wasn't important right now. But I will say, I loved Loki. I loved that first episode when he watched the timeline of everything he's done. And, you know, he runs out, he goes get the Infinity Stones and their paperweights, and he's like, is this really it? Is this what I've been searching for? And I can't do anything. And he sat down like, yeah, I am fucked. And he's like, just do it. You know, I got nothing left. And then he watched him die, and the last thing in his memory bank was Thor hugging him. I cried like a infant. I thought Loki was very well done, because everyone knows I'm a huge Loki fan. I love that character. And I felt like they did the character well, because not only were we getting still a villain Loki, and we're going to get him turning into a hero in a sense again, but we also got a Loki to realize real world consequences to everything he's done. He can't go back, but he can't go back to his timeline. But you know, they might need him for a while. He might be able to make his name, his current name, better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he might not be able to go back, but he can go forward.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Redemption. You know, it's like Andrew Garfield catching Mary Jane. Gwen's still dead, by the way, but
yeah,
you got to save somebody, right? Somebody's mom.
I mean, and Falcon the Winter Soldier was great. I loved seeing Sam Wilson go from Falcon to Captain America. I loved it. I loved every episode of it. You know, was kind of hoping that the Power Broker would have been Kingpin or Doctor Doom, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. You know, they obviously have a plan. But Shang-Chi was not what I thought it was going to be.
Same here.
Because that's just a character I've never followed. You know, that I've never been like, oh my God, Shang-Chi. I was like, oh, okay, Shang-Chi, you know, pretty cool. We watched the movie. I was like, I change, you know, I go back. This is an awesome character.
Absolutely.
And if they would have done him earlier, it would have been cooler. But also, I feel like it's the perfect time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I loved it. I mean, I really wish I could see Eternals. That's going to be one I have to wait on. But, you know, and even with WandaVision, you're seeing all these characters in scenarios that they've never really been in. And you get to see how these characters are acting, you know, just like with Loki realizing his humility. And when he kept getting just need, and finally he was like, I know what you're going to say, and I'm sorry. And he just pours everything out, and you're like, my sweet baby boy, you've come back to where I lost you. You know, watching him watch his life, and watching his mother when he led them to his mother, and was it Morbius? Was that not Morbius?
Spider-Man?
Yeah. What was Owen Wilson's character in that show called?
Oh, Mobius.
I was close. When he was like, you know, what you don't realize is you killed your mother. And Loki's like, no, you're lying. He's like, really? Do you really think so? And it was, that whole show was just, and the only thing I didn't like about it was Kang. I felt like they introduced Kang too early. I felt like they should have done with Kang what they did with Thanos. You had, 5 movies before you even knew Thanos was even a thought in their minds. I felt like the setup could have been better, but those are my thoughts on everything from this year. I realized that seemed like a ramble, but it wasn't. There was a point.
Well, I think that like with Kang specifically, it's one of those that Kang is so many different people that it works. Yeah. Just because you're like, oh, this is just this version of Kang. And then when I think that the only one that's truly Kang is the one that's in charge of the TVA at the end of Loki. Like, I think that that's going to be like, that's the one that everyone's going to be worried about, which is probably going to be the one in Ant-Man, like Quantumania. Like, that's probably going to be the one that shows up there. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like different versions of Kang show up like randomly and as like teaser characters in like other movies, just to kind of show like how like the time travel aspect of like what he does. All right, well, Devontae, it's been great having you on. I'm sure you'll be back on in the future. You know, I don't know.
Oh, yes.
I definitely, when Across the Spider-Verse comes out, for sure. I don't know. Do you know what day that comes out?
I
Oh.
wanted to say it was in June, but I
Let
could
me.
be wrong.
I'm checking.
Yeah, so like at worst, whenever that comes out, we'll have you back on. But like I don't even know, because there's a lot of stuff that's coming out like TV show wise. I know, and then I
Google
know it's
says October 7th.
October 7th.
October. Okay, so it at worst it'll be October. But when does do you know? I know you said there was a new. Is it like a new game coming out? When is?
Yeah.
Is it like anytime soon, or is it?
They
Because I
released
haven't
it-
even played either of the other two. Like,
Oh, they're so fun. They are so fun. I will say the web slinging mechanics are perfect.
I mean, I played both of them, and Miles Morales was just it was a masterpiece. It was an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah,
I actually don't know when the next one comes.
because
out,
didn't
though.
you have like a watch like a let's play on your YouTube
Yeah,
for Miles
and-
Morales?
And in my mind, I told myself I'd never do that ever again. I'm primarily a video game streamer, content creator. That's where I like to. That's my lane. Obviously, super nerd. So I will talk about Spider-Man stuff always on my channel. But it almost takes away. It's just like imagine if you were watching No Way Home and having to tell the people how you were feeling the entire time you're watching No Way Home. That's what it feels like when you're playing a game for the first time and trying to explain, oh my God, that was crazy. Miles just did X, Y, and Z. It just took away from the gaming experience. So I think I'm debating on, I'm going to do a playthrough, but I don't know if I will voice the playthrough. I might just play it through and just see what happens or something like that. But no one just watches playthroughs without voice. So I'll probably suck it up and do it again. But it truly does take away from the game. Well, I'm playing it for the first time and I'm having to constantly communicate to you that, oh my God, that was wild. Or, oh my God, this is how I'm feeling about that. Like if someone would have did that in No Way Home for the third time I've said it on this stream, I would have sent them to meet Uncle Ben. So but yes, I think I want to say obviously it comes out next year. I can't remember the exact dates, but yeah, I would be more than happy anytime Spider-Man related, or honestly just anything related. I'm a huge nerd as well, so whenever you guys would love to have me back on, I'd love to be here. I will make sure to bear. I have 3 different versions of this, so I will wear another one. Always Spider-Man, right? But I'll wear another one. But very easy to find on all social media. It is Black Spider-Man, or you probably can't see the magical cord here, but it's BLKSPDRMAN, Black Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put some links in the description too for people just to like click. But I'm sure you're gonna comment on the video and feel free to plug away in the comments.
I was here. Everything I said is the Bible. It is the word. Listen to me. Please subscribe. I'm slowly
comment,
surely
subscribe.
Barely over 100 subscribers. Please, for the love of God, help me. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Please,
I was say you're doing better than us. We're at 52, so we're trying to catch you.
Every single one of our subscribers. They make it go. So
100%. I love. It is enjoyable, doing this and just getting to put content that you like, content that obviously we're passionate about out there for people to watch. And I don't care. There's 3 people that enjoy any of the content that I make. To me, it's worth continuing to put out there. It would be nice though. Press this subscribe, comment button. Can't get paid unless I get to 1,000. So
same help.
Sack the button, please, please, please sack the button. I need it, but no, for real, I enjoy interacting with people. And honestly, guys, if I watch all your podcasts, I was honestly writing you an entire paragraph about your last one and all the Spider-Man little nerdy things that I know, and I was just like, let me just not, because they're gonna read it, I'm gonna read it. And we could just have the conversation in person. No one else is going to read this. And then if they did read it, they'd be like, God, this guy is sad. I know all this.
I could do the same thing with Batman. Where I'm like, here's all this information. Someone's like, yeah, This is a board meeting, Josh. Oh, okay, sorry. I'll save comments for later.
All right. Well,
actually, one last fun fact. In the 616 universe, there is a timeline in which, again, Uncle May, I'm coining that. Her name is now Uncle May, but there is a timeline in which Uncle May dies. And it's weird, though, because Kingpin is the one who not necessarily kills her, but puts in the hit to kill Peter, but ends up killing Uncle May. So that was interesting that we introduced Kingpin. And obviously, he's not the one pulling the strings. He didn't tell William Dafoe to murk Uncle May. But I thought it was interesting that right as we get a Kingpin, Aunt May dies. I was like, it's close. It's close enough for me. As a comic book nerd, I'm like, I see what you did there. It's close enough. Take your artistic freedoms and all that other trash. So, yeah. But, yeah. You know, again, random nerd facts that I don't know why I know it. Spider-Man, that's why I know it. Of course.
Okay, well, I have one quick question for you before you go. How OP is Sora in Smash Bros?
Oh my goodness. Sora's just... It's like he shouldn't be good, but he is, because he's no floaty character in the history of the game has ever been good, other than, in Ultimate. Mega Knight was OP as crap in Melee. But anyways, in Ultimate, no floaty character is good. If you're floating, you die. Sora, you're just like... just floating everywhere. Sora's OP. Sora is OP, and it's probably the reason why I stopped playing that God-forsaken game. Makes sense.
Which we all know you're eventually going to start playing because that's how it works. Yeah. You get mad, you put it down, and you go, man, I hadn't played this in a while. Let me play it. And then you get mad, and then you put it down, and you go, man, I hadn't played this in a while.
It's a vicious cycle.
You get mad, you put it down, you go, why did I stop playing it? You boot it up, you go, oh, that's why.
That's why. They didn't patch this yet. I'm coming back when they patch this. Why did I stop playing this again? Oh, yeah, they didn't patch this.
I just remember seeing the reveal. I was like, yo, that's dope. And then, like, I never actually went to look up if there was, like, gameplay or if he was actually good or...
Sora's pretty good. Most of the DLC that they released, they are not horrible characters. They're not all super competitive. Pyra and Mythra is probably the best ones that they released, but Sora, it annoys me that the character's good. Like, I don't know why. I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan, so wow, did
Kingdom
I just say Final Fantasy? Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, to be fair, most of Kingdom Hearts is Final Fantasy.
Correct, yeah. But I'm not a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and so I just kind of annoys me that Sora is good. I think that's it. I think that's truly it. I have nothing against Sora. It's like, I don't... Why? Like, you could put anyone else in a game, but you put this crap in there. That's my 2 cents.
You put Sora in there, but you didn't put Waluigi? Get out of here.
That's what I'm saying. I would have taken Waluigi over there.
Give me the mustache. All right, well, we will let you go. I'm about to say, I'm sure you got kids and stuff to attend to, so...
Nah, I pawned them off on my mother. I gotta go pick them up tomorrow, so... But, again, appreciate you guys having me, and until next time.
Oh, yeah. See ya.
Well, I guess that was another edition of The Nerd is the Word.
Oh, yes. Always fun when we have guests. You know, hopefully we have them on again. Great conversation. You know, I love when we have guests that we can banter with and we can joke, but also at the end of the day, we can sit there and go, look, this is how we feel about this. And you can get different opinions. And I love it. You know, it's one of the, to me, one of my favorite parts of us having done this for so long. Well, I say so long, it's been a year. I say it like we're old, grizzled podcast vets. Like, you remember back in the day? Back in the day when we did it on my cell phone. I had to record our voices for 59 minutes. And if we went over, I had to write on a piece of paper, hey, 59 minutes. And we're like,
funnily enough, we had to do it today. Thanks, Zoom.
Yeah.
So if you notice how people shuffled places randomly, just say thanks, Zoom in the comments.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And tell Zoom that if they want us to do an upgrade, they can sponsor. And then we can give them all the upgrade. But until
I'll put a logo.
We'll put a logo right in the corners, be like, ours, Zoom. Zoom us. Hopefully that gets us more sponsorship. But yeah, that was fun. You know, I can't wait till we can have him back on. You know, he's so much fun. The first time meeting him, seems like one of the coolest people I've ever met. And I've met
100%. I know that the people didn't get to see, but he showed off his he was on the football team whenever I was at Georgia Southern, and he showed off his conference championship rings beforehand with all the bling and the, oh my god. I know he showed off 2. I think he has 3, but I'm not sure. But it was it's just so funny that he has that. You're eventually going to get some kind of ring to show off. I know I've got my bowling ones. He's got football.
I'm just gonna get like a Green Lantern ring and be like, see, I have one too.
You got Green Lantern ring, Flash ring. You can figure something out. the one ring to rule them all. I don't care. You pick.
Oh yeah, but yes, this was another installment of The Nerd is the Word. You know, like we said last week, this year's been a little crazy, but you know, sometimes this happens with channels. I promise we're coming back full swing. We got things in the works. We've said it 1,000 times. We're going to keep saying it, you know, and like we said with him earlier, you know, even if 3 people listen, we love doing this so much that my dog could listen and be like, you hear that? Yeah. And I loved Spider-Man and I loved his dog. So, but yes, unfortunately we have to end this episode, but you know, so sometimes things have to end for something new to start. So, and I realize that sounds like we're ending the podcast. We are not, just this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say we will be back most likely next week with you know, a review of Hawkeye, and we'll cover that and like all the, you know, go episode by episode, give some like details. Like obviously we talked about like Kingpin being revealed in episode 5 from the Netflix, you know, as Vincent D'Onofrio. So like I'm curious to see. I assume that we're going to actually see him, not just a picture. Like we're actually going to get to see him act. So like that'll be cool. I can't wait to see. You know, that'll come out on Wednesday. So nice little holiday treat.
Yes, a nice little holiday treat. Day after Christmas, we'll give y'all an episode and talk about, you know, Green Arrow is the Emerald Archer, and I don't think Hawkeye has a whatever color Archer, so I'm going to say the purple Archer.
He's purple.
So, but yes, thank you all so much for watching. You know, we hope you enjoyed our guest. You know, we're going to hopefully have more guests on in the future. But until next time, this was Nerd is the Word. I am Josh.
I'm Jeff.
And thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And may the Force be with you.
And this is the way.